Good afternoon, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this afternoon, distraught sister mourns a man who died in 3 fatality crash. Almost 2 years ago, Ricardo Bayless's family members breathed a sigh of relief when he emerged with only a few injuries from a traffic mishap. On Tuesday afternoon, he wasn't so lucky. He was one of 3 men killed in a crash on Norman Manley Boulevard in Hanover. Bayless was a construction worker reportedly working on a section of a major hotel project. On his way home from work, he was a passenger in a car involved in a 2-vehicle crash. This is the second one, and he did not make it. In the October 2023 incident, he was coming from work and a Voxy hit him off the back and sent him under a truck bottom. His tearful sister, Alicia Clark, told the news on Wednesday. She said her brother only had cuts to his legs and injuries to his head from the 2023 incident. On Tuesday, when Clark received the news that her brother had once again been involved in a crash, she called his phone and a medical professional at the hospital answered. She said a doctor told her he was in serious condition and would need a CT scan. She said in case of anything, she will call me back. The next time she called me back, she said that they tried their best, but he did not make it. He bled a lot. She said his lungs punctured, relayed Clark. I can't take it. It was a similar time he was coming from work that it happened again. I haven't eaten from last night, said the grief-stricken woman. She said she and her brother shared a special bond as they were the only 2 of their mother's 6 children who lived in Green Island. The others lived in Negril. Bayless was the only male sibling, while Clark is the second of 5 girls. Down to Monday night, me and him sit down out here and he said to me, "Sister, me have something to say to you, but it has to wait till the next 2 weeks' time before me can say anything." I said to him, "Brother, it better if you just tell me now because you're not going to remember." Then yesterday me get called say him lay down a Negril, relayed Clark. Him never got a chance to tell me anything, she added mournfully. Reports from the Green Island Police in Hanover are that about 5:50 p.m., a brown Toyota Hilux truck was traveling westward toward the Negril when on reaching a section of the main road, the driver lost the control of the vehicle. It reportedly veered off its path and collided with a green Toyota Corolla station wagon motor car driven by 47-year-old Owen Jackson of Codwell in the parish. The police were alerted to the scene where Jackson and the 65-year-old Calbert Hart of Cousins Cove in the parish were pronounced dead. Bayless and the driver of the Hilux were transported to the hospital, where Bayless died while undergoing treatment. A 4th Green Island resident who was traveling in the Toyota Corolla was hospitalized. Clark had the difficult task of telling her mother, Angela Atkins, that Bayless had died. "It is not good. It is my only son, so it's not good for me. I don't know how I'm going to overcome this," said the grief-stricken mother. DCS denies harsher treatment of inmates at the St. Catherine Adult Correctional Center. The Department of Correctional Services is pushing back at claims by inmates at the St. Catherine Adult Correctional Center about harsher conditions behind the bars. The DCS also sought to dismiss claims of brewing unrest among correctional officers, insisting that recent reports do not reflect reality. In a letter addressed to human rights lobby group Jamaicans for Justice, the inmates at the St. Catherine Adult Correctional Center alleged that they have been deprived of visitation rights by correctional officers. They also claimed that correctional officers at the facility are on the verge of industrial action over years of old funds. But the DCS says the claims are entirely unfounded and without merit. It says all standard procedures regarding inmate welfare and the daily routines continue and are in full compliance with established correctional regulations covering monthly visits and recreation time. The DCS says all obligations outlined in the Heads of Agreement have been satisfied and all operations across all correctional facilities remain stable with no reports of disruption. In their letter, the inmates also claimed that they are being deprived of the right to parole by overseeing officers who fail to make contact when prisoners become eligible. So the DCS again distanced the facility from any wrongdoing, maintaining that the application process for parole involves several steps to assess the inmate's readiness for reintegration into society. It said once eligible, the inmate or someone acting on their behalf must submit a formal application to the parole board with housing and supervision outlined. The department maintained that officers have been proactive in engaging and assisting with the parole process and urged the inmates to keep track of their parole eligibility. Tension in St. Thomas Eastern after political posters for PNP candidates removed. There was tension in St. Thomas Eastern on Wednesday morning following the removal of political posters belonging to the People's National Party caretaker candidate Rose Marie Shaw. The removals reportedly began last week and intensified overnight, with at least 2 vehicles involved in the activity. In an interview Wednesday morning, Ms. Shaw said at least 9 billboards were taken down between midnight and 3 a.m. She emphasized that there would be no retaliation from PNP supporters and called for the Jamaica Labour Party candidate to urge her supporters to stop the acts of vandalism. Ms. Shaw also confirmed that the billboards will be replaced. Member of Parliament Dr. Michelle Charles said that she was unaware of the incident but committed to conducting an investigation. Fewer testing days are coming for PEP students. Beginning in 2026, grade 6 students taking the primary exit profile exams will face fewer testing days, with mathematics and language arts assessments, as they will be condensed into single-day sittings under new changes. This was announced by Minister of Education, Skills, Youth and Information, Senator Dana Morris-Dixon, during a back-to-school conference for principals and vice principals from Region 2, Portland, St. Thomas and St. Mary, held at Hideaway at Royalton Blue Waters in Falmouth, Trelawney on July 15. For the grade 6 PEP, we're going to collapse the exams together. So this means you do all your mathematics on one day and all your language arts on one day, Morris-Dixon outlined. Moreover, the exam timeline is being shifted from February to the months of April and May to give educators more time to deliver the curriculum to students ahead of the exams, said the minister. She noted that these changes are not a complete overhaul of the PEP structure, but are immediate, manageable low-hanging adjustments that aim to reduce the stress while improving the learning and the teaching experience for students and the teachers, respectively. In addition to the scheduling changes, Morris-Dixon pointed out that the ministry is to introduce new literacy and numeracy questions within the grade 6 PEP papers. This is to help the ministry gauge and assess the numeracy and the literacy levels of students at the end of primary school, she noted. It's just some questions that we've added that give us a touch point on numeracy and literacy, because currently we do not test the literacy and the numeracy at the PEP. PEP is testing the extent to which you've mastered the curriculum. It's a curriculum-based test, Morris-Dixon said. In the meantime, the minister indicated that for grade 5, the ministry is considering discontinuing the PEP exam but has deferred a final decision pending further consultations with the Jamaica Teachers Association and other stakeholders. She argued that the idea is for the grade 5 examination papers to be provided to schools for use as end-of-year school assessments. So the only decision we've made so far is to collapse the exams, move them later for grade 6, and add the touchpoint questions so we can know numeracy and literacy numbers at grade 6, she added. Morris-Dixon said that these actions stem from a wider review of the PEP system that she initiated upon taking office, pointing out that the review focuses on 2 main questions: how to reduce the administrative and emotional burden of the exams, and whether PEP is achieving its intended outcomes. She indicated that the feedback collected through formal and informal consultations, as well as a recently distributed questionnaire, revealed a shared concern over the extended exam period and the pressure on students over the 3-year testing in grades 4, 5, and 6. Guys, thank you for watching. See you this evening at 6 p.m. for another news update.